The title of this video is Magic, Scandal, and Tragedy, the story of Lully's Armide.
Everyone, welcome to today's episode. Today we're diving into one of the most controversial, magnificent, and flat-out bizarre moments in art history. I'm taking you back to February 1686 in Paris. That's exactly 340 years ago, the birthplace of an absolute Baroque masterpiece, the opera Armide by Jean-Baptiste Lully. But this isn't just about the music. Behind those velvet curtains, we've got scandals, magic, power monopolies, and even a freak death. Let's get into it. Let's start with the fact that this opera was the final collaboration between two giants of the era, the composer Jean-Baptiste Lully and the librettist, or the writer, Philippe Quinault. Everyone assumed that when this artistic bomb dropped at the Théâtre du Palais-Royal, King Louis XIV, the Sun King himself, would be front and centre. But they were dead wrong. One of the biggest behind-the-scenes scandals is that Louis XIV didn't even show up for the premiere. Why? Because Lully, the king's former golden boy, was caught up in a massive moral scandal. Rumour had it that Lully was involved with a young page boy in the court named Brunet. The king, who was becoming super conservative under the influence of his religious wife, Madame de Maintenon, basically cancelled Lully. Lully dedicated this opera to the king as a musical apology letter, but the king wouldn't even give him the time of day.
Cet enfant?
Ce n'est plus un enfant, madame. C'est un roi.
You have to understand, Lully wasn't just an artist. He was a musical dictator. He held an absolute monopoly on opera in France, granted by the king. This meant nobody else could use more than 2 singers or a handful of musicians without his permission. He basically blacklisted major rivals like Marc-Antoine Charpentier just so he could be the only star on stage.
The story of this opera takes us right into the heart of the First Crusade. But this isn't the history book version. It's a legendary, magical retelling based on the epic poem Jerusalem, delivered by Torquato Tasso.
When it comes to the vocal cast and the character vibes, Lully didn't just pick singers at random. Every voice type had a specific symbolic meaning. Take the character of Armide, for instance. She's a Muslim princess and a powerful sorceress, and her voice has to be a dramatic soprano. She needs to pull off everything from hellish rage to hopeless romantic. Then there's Renaud, the Christian knight and the symbol of duty. His voice is the unique haute contre, a very high, clear tenor that's different from a falsetto. Lully saw this voice as the ultimate symbol of nobility and masculine heroism. Even the dark forces had their own sound. Scary characters like Hydro, Armide's uncle, or La Haine, which means hate, used deep bass and baritone voices to make your skin crawl with authority and terror.
If we look at the flow of the story, it all starts with the prologue, where two goddesses, Glory and Wisdom, have a bit of a face-off over who's superior. They conclude that in war, Glory wins, and in peace, Wisdom rules. And hey, King Louis XIV conveniently has both. In Act 1, Armide is living her best life in Damascus because she's captured all the Christian knights. But then, news breaks that one guy named Renaud has single-handedly broken them all out. Armide swears right then and there to take him down. Then comes Act 2, which is really the climax of the drama. Renaud falls into a magical sleep by the river. Armide shows up with a dagger, ready to end him. This is that famous scene, Enfin il est en ma puissance. But suddenly, her heart skips a beat. Instead of stabbing him, she falls for him. She uses her magic to wake him up, makes him fall in love with her, and whisks him away to an enchanted palace. In Act 3, Armide realises Renaud's love isn't real, it's just the magic talking. She actually summons the goddess of hate to rip the love out of her own heart. But halfway through the ritual, she regrets it and kicks the goddess out. The goddess, in a terrifying bass voice, curses her to be stuck in a one-sided love forever. Moving into Act 4, two of Renaud's buddies come to rescue him. Armide sets traps, sending demons disguised as their ex-girlfriends to seduce them, but the knights use a magic wand and a diamond shield to smash through the illusions. Finally, in Act 5, Armide and Renaud have a romantic moment. But she leaves to consult with the demons. While she's gone, The knights find Renaud and hold up the diamond shield. Renaud wakes up from the spell and realizes he's been played. Armide returns, begs and cries, but Renaud says, "Sorry, duty and war are calling," and he leaves.
باید بدونید که لولی در آرمید
You have to understand, Lully took music to its peak in Armide. Unlike the Italians, who were all about showing off with virtuosity and crazy vocal runs, Lully focused on accurate word delivery and drama. If we look at the technical side of the music, one of his biggest innovations was musical declamation. Lully believed a singer must be an actor first, so he designed the music to perfectly match the rhythm of the French language. This is called French recitative, where the music truly serves the words. He also used very specific vocal ornaments called agréments. You won't find long improvisations here. These are very delicate, preset trills used to add tenderness to keywords like love, death, or shiver. He also preferred using what we call airs instead of long, boring da capo arias. These airs have a shorter A-B form, so the story never loses its momentum. Even the chorus, or the group singing, isn't just background noise. They act as the people, the demons, or even the story's conscience. Their music is homophonic, meaning they all sing the same rhythm together so you can actually understand what they're saying. And we can't forget the orchestration. Lully used grand overtures and dances like the minuet and gavotte. In Act 5, he created a masterpiece called the Passacaille, which is a repeating rhythmic pattern that perfectly captures the palace's grandeur and Armide's anxiety.
At the end of the opera, Armide is left alone and loses her mind with rage. She orders the demons to destroy her enchanted palace. But how does she leave? She leaves in a chariot of fire. Back in 1686, they used crazy stage machines, basically a chariot on ropes and pulleys that lowered from the ceiling. Armide would fly off into the sky while the stage literally collapsed beneath her. It was a power move by Lully to show that Armide remains undefeated, even in her loneliness. And let me wrap up this videocast with a dark truth about the real-life ending of the composer himself. A year after this opera, while Lully was conducting a piece to celebrate the king's recovery from illness, he got so hyped up that he accidentally slammed his heavy conducting staff, since they used to bang them on the floor back then, right onto his own big toe. It got infected with gangrene, but since Lully was a dancer, he refused to let them amputate his leg. The infection spread to his whole body. Well, that's that's the wild story of the opera Armide and its controversial creator, Jean-Baptiste Lully. I hope you enjoyed this trip back 340 years into the heart of the Baroque era. If you're into these kinds of behind-the-scenes stories from the art world, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Don't forget to drop a like. It really helps us out and keeps the stories coming. Thanks for hanging out with us, and until next time, remember, art always has a story to tell. Catch you later.